Hey, I think we are good. Let me do a quick audio check. Everybody just let me know if you guys could hear me. Let me do a quick show with. Okay, I could hear myself. So that's good. Let's give me a thumbs up if we all good, and we could come back and pick it up where we left off because this is insane. So, once again, thank you for joining me. This is I Am Fit Podcast. Are you fit to go God's way? Let's go. Okay. So, I wanted to have a quick conversation because I'm a little concerned. I'm a little worried. I will say, you know, looking at what's going on in the next generation, the people that will be taking care of me, taking care of my wife, taking care of my mother, the world that we're gonna live in, what kind of world we're gonna live in the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. I know us Christians, and especially those within the Hebraic community, believe that Christ is coming any day now. But I always tell people when I was doing my sermon in GOCC that we should be ready to for Christ if he comes tomorrow or he comes 100 years from now. And one thing that the enemy do, the people from the other side do, people that worship money and power and control, they're prepared not only for them, but they are preparing for their children, their children's children, for their children down the line. We don't do that as, people, specifically people of color. We want it right now, right here. And I think we have to start having a conversation. What kind of world we're going to live in the next 30 years if America lasts for the next 30 years, right? 2 seconds. Let me just make sure. Okay, perfect. I want to make sure I'm coming in clear. Folks, you could just give me a quick thumbs up. Okay, I could hear myself, but I think I'm good. So I just wanted to make sure that we are good in the neighborhood. So I want to play this video. I want to set the stage. Okay. Yep. Okay. Got a thumbs up. It's good. Okay. Perfect. All right. So I want to play this video. And because this kind of like worried me a little bit. I was like, okay, what's going on here? What's the dealio? What is the matter of fact? Let me go here. Let me go here. Matter of fact, let me go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, here it is. Okay, it's the first one. Okay. So I went to the NYU website or Instagram account, right? The NYU Instagram account. And I came across this information. And I was like, okay, let's see who are the graduates for the 2004 candidates, right? So to kind of give you an idea what I'm referring to, let me go here, right? Let me share this video. Boom. Okay, so these are the teachers. They are congratulating those that graduated in 2024. Failures.
So the class of 2024, congratulations. For all those graduating in spring, I hope you're excited for your last semester.
Congratulations, seniors. You're so close to graduation. You did it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, seniors. We're all proud of you.
Congratulations, seniors. Welcome to alumnihood.
Congratulations, class of 2024. We're all so proud of you.
Seniors, congratulations. So proud of you.
Congratulations, seniors. We're really happy for you. And go class of 2024.
Congratulations, guys. You did it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Gallatin graduates.
Congratulations, you're done.
To the December graduates of the
So these are the teachers, right? These are the people that are, what you will say, the teachers teaching the next generation, right? And let me show you one of the teachers. Matter of fact, this teacher here that you see here with the mustache and the curly hair, he does as a thing for the college, a little dress up, right? Here you go. He's clearly see, this is one of the teachers. He's wearing looks like a skirt with some red tights and some women's shoes. Okay, great. Right, into fashion. He's one of the teachers. Now he's wearing looks like a little schoolgirl dress. I don't know. Maybe it's, dress up week. I don't know. Right. And so this is basically what you see. This is what we're going to see when people are graduating, right? The people that are graduating, the people that are, let's see what are the subjects. That's more important. The subjects that they are choosing as a topic. Pay attention. Now they call it my concentration. So your major, I guess the new hip talk now is my concentration. I'm concentrating on this particular subject. This is my major, right? When you go to college, you usually have a major and a minor, right? Because sometimes you haven't decided what you want to do, right? Pay attention. Fair use.
My name is Jacob, and my concentration is environmental science and sustainable business.
Hi, my name is Lex, and my concentration is the performance of self.
Hi, I'm Gab.
What is the performance of self? What kind of degree is that? Look here, the degrees, because now students and anybody who's been to college or what have you, let me know. It's been a while. You could choose your own major. You could create your own version of a major, whatever you're passionate about, right? You want to become a PhD in ants and study the history and the biology of ants. You could do that, right? So pay attention.
Gabrielle, my concentration is creative direction, production, and narrative through the arts, performance, and written word.
Hi, my name is Karina Gomez, and my concentration is in journalism and Latin American studies.
Okay, so journalism, I could see that if she wants to pursue a career in journalism and Latin American studies, right? But pay attention to these, these other ones.
With an emphasis in human rights, collective memory, and political violence.
Okay, what is political violence and collective memory? That's a smorgasbord of different things that we're talking about here, right? Fair use.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Lee, and I studied the sociology of environmental communication.
Hi, my name is Reed, and I study music business and gender studies.
Hi.
Oh, sorry, guys. Let me go back.
Hello, my name is Jacob, and my concentration is environmental science and sustainable business.
Hi, my name is Lex, and my concentration is the performance of self.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle. My concentration is creative direction, production, and narrative through the arts, performance, and written word.
Hi, my name is Karina Gomez, and my concentration is in journalism and Latin American studies, with an emphasis in human rights, collective memory, and political violence.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Lee, and I studied the sociology of environmental communication.
Hi, my name is Reed, and I study music business and gender studies.
Hi, my name is Dominique, and I studied.
What is gender studies? I mean, what's just a study? There's two genders, man and female. But what I know, I'm an old fart, right? Pay attention, it gets worse.
Care politics with a minor in disability studies.
My name is Elliot Wright, and my concentration is art as a social mechanism.
Hi, I'm Georgia, and my concentration is dramatic writing and theatrical adaptation.
My name is Noah Loyacano, and my concentration is equilibrium or negotiated paradox.
Equilibrium and negotiating paradox. I can't pronounce that word, sorry. What he's going to do with this degree? What is this young man is going to do with this degree? And I saw a lot of memes and within Instagram that these are your new, this is your future Starbucks employees, right? I don't. What happened to the engineers? What happened to criminal justice? I could understand journalism. I could understand business administration, marketing, business, all those things, I think you could use that. But what are these subjects that they're using these days? Like I said, it gets worse.
Hi, my name is Sophie Lopez, and my concentration is titled Queering and Decolonizing Theater Practice. Hi, my name is
What was that? We have to play probably that one back.
Maya, and my concentration is journalism, post-colonial studies, and psychoanalysis.
Hi, I'm Eloise. I'm graduating with a concentration in philosophy of science and theater.
My name is Amina, and my concentration is titled The Criminal Mind, which is surrounded on criminology and applied psychology.
Hi, my name is Juliana. My concentration is international business and fashion through sustainable development.
International business is a good degree to have. To understand how business work internationally, that's a good business. So they're not all bad, but just bear with me. Bear with me. Because like I said, it gets worse.
Yay!
Hello, my name is Jacob.
Okay, so that was one. So let's see some more. This was 2023. Fair use.
Studying Latin American women and visual culture.
Yeah! Hi, I'm Melanie. I'm studying the unseen body and creative spaces, erasure and exposure of the queer.
Yeah! Wow. What was that? Exposure of the queer year. It's make me understand.
Hey, I'm Nina, and I studied the arts, education, and social justice.
I'm Joyce. I studied decolonial intimacies, indigenous politics, and resistance.
I'm Victoria, and I studied remembering or forgetting, navigating international conflict through collective memory.
Forgetting and study of the theory of memory and never mind.
Hi, I'm Iman, and I studied monstrosity, the subaltern praxis. Or should I say I created it?
Hi, I'm Nunyala. I'm studying living artfully, art as ritual therapy, and pathways of decoloniality.
I'm Naomi, and I'm studying Black political economy.
I'm Natalie, and I'm studying fashion history and gender studies.
And I studied phenomenological approaches to Black womanhood, specifically
Your new Starbucks employees.
My name is Marie, and my concentration is the radical disruption for survival, development in sub-Saharan Africa, through social anthropology.
Hi, I'm Kira, and I studied textiles and environmental justice.
Hi, I'm Ava, and I study woman, fugitive family, relationships, and identity, the transformative Black woman.
Congratulations, everybody. There you go. That's the class of 2024. Congratulations. I'm worried. If this is our future, if this is what they're focusing on, if this is what they are. Now, I was speaking to a friend of mine that was explaining to me why a lot of these young people are taking these weird subjects that where are you going to find a job? Who's going to hire you for gender studies? Who's going to hire you for, selective memory, and oppressive Black women studies of the middle Africa of the cosmos? I mean, who's going to hire you, right? But a lot of them, what I'm hearing is that a lot of these young people, they're using these subjects because they want to be like the expert on that subject. Like they want to kind of have their own lane on that subject. So they, a lot of them are creating, their own TikTok, their own podcast, their own type of media scenario, and they become the expert on selective memory and oppressive Black women, of economics and blah, 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 and so forth, so on. what happened to the regular degrees? You know, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an engineer. I want to, you know, that's where the money's at, right? But what is going on within the next generation? And now, and see, a lot of these college kids, these are the new people that are going to become the administrators, because corporate America has no use for those degrees, first of all. So where are they going to go? They're going to go into some form of social work field, some form of like government officials and so forth, and this particular position and yada, yada, yada. A lot of them are going to become the next, you know, experts. And let me show you more videos. And these college graduates now make more sense. Why this particular video now makes more sense, right? I want to play this video real quick, right? Because now you having these people that are now the experts with these weird, you know, I would say these weird experts on these fields, right? And I want to play this video. Fair use. This is a Congress hearing, and they're having a conversation about gender now. And now you have all these experts talking about they went to school, they have a degree, they have a PhD in these particular subjects, right? So these are the new experts. These are the people that we're going to go to. So this is a Congress asking this young lady about gender. Fair use.
I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they?
So you see the pattern here, folks? You see what's going on? You see this constant antagonistic to the patriarchal system that us men established here in the universe, or at least in this planet, by the grace of God. These are teachers. These are the experts, the PhD. Now these are the people that are teaching our children. Right? Let me show you another one. Fair use.
And this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are 2 sexes, but there can be more than 2 genders?
I wouldn't even say 2, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, explain that. Just do you think there are more than 2 sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned
so
at birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born.
So am
I'm
I.
talking about biology. Male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged. But
Intersex.
again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
And what does
say
intersex mean?
is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations, we're conflating the two.
Well, but
So you know, and you guys, I'm pretty sure seen these type of videos 1,000 times. And I have the let me put the description here as well. If you guys want to come in, whoever wants to come in is more than welcome to share their opinion. Okay, this is a safe place. We're not going to attack anybody. We're just going to have a conversation about gender and what the heck is going on with our kids, right? But more importantly, you know, I just hit 52 a week and a half ago. Week ago, rather. And I said, you know, I was here, I was born when there was only television. And then television began to have cable, right? And cable, no, well, I think before cable, you have beepers. One with the beepers, I'm showing my age. Someone wants to call you, or someone wants them to call them. So the beeper comes up, the number comes up, so you know to call them. And you gotta get a payphone, right? Hey, you beat me. What's going on? You know, doctors used to have it in the beginning, beep 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 beep, right? And then you have the two-way pages, one with the two-way pages, right? I remember that. I was here before that was here, right? Of course, the cell phone. Only lawyers had the big cell phone, and rich people in their cars, you know. But then everybody has one. Then, you know, the internet of all things, right? Emails. I was here before emails. I was here, you know, when hip hop became a thing. I remember the first, you know, MTV and those things that, you know, music and you know, heavy metal became a thing, and grunge rock became a thing, alternative music became a thing. Then hip hop, and then gangster hip hop, and then, you know, all these, you know, things that I saw, trends that I saw. And I thought, as a 52-year-old man, that all the trends that ever will be, will be. I thought that we are at the end of the road. There's nothing new under the sun, so forth, so on. But I believe I'm in the bricks. We're experiencing a new trend. And what's going to happen is that these kids, they are graduating, they're 21, 22, 23, 24, young people. They started life. Clearly, I don't know if they're Christians. I don't know. I don't want to. I would like to know their moral grounds. I would like to know what's going on in regards of their spirituality and their morality. But I'm concerned about America. I'm concerned what's going on. And, you know, I think America is going to be split into different sections, right? And I truly believe that America is the standard of the world. I believe that America is the you know, it first becomes a trend in America, and then it becomes a trend everywhere else, right? And I could understand why God needs to destroy this country, this society. I could rationalize it now, right? And if this country lasts another 20 years, It's going to be, being a Christian is going to be like heretic. It's going to be like, for me, if I would show you like the first beeper, right? A big block thing, or the first cell phone. Like, remember this, right? This book is going to be heretic. This book is going to be like, hey, I want to show you something. Look. Wow, you have one of those books called the Bible? Shh, don't say it. Don't say it too loud. It's illegal. You want to read it, right? I truly believe that. Like, you know, I used to read the Bible sometimes, you know, and I used to look at all the things that is going to happen, the mark of the beast, you know, you're going to be hated for my name's sake. And I, you know, and part of me was like, it wasn't I was doubting, but I was like trying to see from a rational perspective, how can we be in a world that we are being persecuted by Christ's name? Because I was saying, God, how could that be possible? Right? I was a very skeptic. I'm a very skeptic person by nature. But now I see it. I do not doubt in any way, shape, or form that we are slowly, methodically, very, moving at the edge of insanity. So what you thought was like universal truth, like there's two genders, right? That's universal truth. It's shifting. And I was speaking to a friend of mine about Donald Trump may or may not be the next president. I think he is, unless they assassinate him or they try to steal the election again. That's my opinion. Because times are changing, folks. Things are not the same. Things are not what they used to be. Things are different. You know, I remember when I was a kid. I want to show you guys this video, right? When the military was promoting the military. Remember this commercial? I'm showing my age, right? Young man here in the car, right? Move it! Remember that? Right? I mean, granted, they were training these young men to go to war and to promote or to protect the interests of the rich and powerful, right? But a man was a man and a woman was a woman back then, right?
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine.
And hoorah to the Marines. You know, my brother was a Marine. So hoorah to them. You know, it takes a tough man mentally to become a Marine. But let's now look at how are they promoting the military now, right? How are they promoting the military now, right? What is the new, is it? I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. Okay, right? Do you see a difference in the promoting the military, right? Let's play this song. Let's play this video. See if you guys know the difference. The calling, right?
This is the story of a soldier who operates your nation's Patriot missile defense systems.
Oh,
It begins in California with a little girl raised by two moms.
Oh, two moms. Isn't that great?
Although I had a fairly typical childhood, took ballet, played violin,
Having two moms is not typical. I'm just saying.
I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom.
There's a military commercial. See that on top? U.S. Army, The Calling, 2021.
With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed so much in life, a sorority girl stereotype. Sure, I'd spent my life around inspiring women, but what had I really achieved on my own? One of my sorority sisters was studying abroad in Italy. Another was climbing Mount Everest. I needed my own adventures, my own challenge. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength and maybe shatter some stereotypes along the way. I'm U.S. Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, and I answered my calling.
Oh, isn't that nice? Huh? Isn't that nice? Hear the calling, folks, right? Hear the calling. We're getting weaker every generation. I'm not wrong. Listen, I could understand, the term toxic masculinity and we have to get rid of, toxic masculinity. Now, let me give you the history of that term, toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity came from, it was a term used by a psychiatrist dealing with criminals in jail, inmates. You look at me wrong, you disrespect me, we're fighting, we're killing. And they termed that type of environment to toxic masculinity. But now they took it from that, and now they kind of, now any man that takes a stand, you being a toxic masculinity, now is just, usually just for criminals. It was a term that was understood for criminals, right? And I can understand that particular scenario, right? Criminals, I could see where that term could come from, right? Toxic masculinity, people in jail, you get stabbed if you just look at somebody wrong. If you just, say something, that is funny or they've deemed disrespectful, right? They're murdering people, right? Over that. I can understand that term, right? And I did a show a while back called The Difference Between Toxic Masculinity and also Righteous Masculinity, right? And so forth, so on. And I think we have to, instead of complain about it, and look what they're doing, blah, 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 oh my God, things are changing. We have to do something. How do we do something? I heard it, there was someone that had some wisdom, and they were giving me wisdom of life. Sometimes when you got evil, right, and you see the evil, you attack the evil. But then the evil becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Before you know it, is a fist, it's an empire, it's a humongous mountain, right? Sometimes to attack evil or to make sure the evil is being destroyed, you don't attack evil, right? You don't attack evil from a perspective of like, it's wrong, let's fight evil, let's attack evil. Sometimes you gotta let evil be evil and you just be good. Do good. Attack evil with good. And how do you do that? Start a podcast. Start an organization in your community. Talk about these things. become the example of righteous masculinity. Give a solution, right? I got men going God's way, but what do you got in your community? And I'm speaking to brothers and sisters, right? You could start a baseball group in your community. You could start just a conversational piece or something just to help the young people, because it's one of these things, man, that mentors do matter. Mentors do matter. I remember when I had good teachers or good coaches or good people around me when I was a child, and those memories stuck with me. Those memory, those advice, those food for thought, that do matter. So how do you fight evil? How do you combat? You got to fight back with righteousness and to compete, because everybody's going to say, okay, this is the new way, but if you show them a better way, they'll go that way, right? Brother Logic, what you got to add to this conversation?
Man. Yes, sir. So I don't even know where to start. So first I want to say the commercial that you showed before for the Marines, I actually remember that. It used, make you feel, kind of proud, from when, my time in the Marine Corps, what have you. Here, I want to first go back to the two women that were speaking in the Senate. All right. And I want to preface this by saying that what I'm going to say following is just my personal opinion, and it may not be as edifying as I normally speak, because it really angers me. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. In this country, for far too long now, anyone that knows me, one second, sorry, the phone call came in. Anybody that knows me knows I have a saying, like, my closest friends or what have you. And but when I'm in a public setting or a public space, I'm mindful of how I speak, as not to offend the audience or what have you. But I have a personal belief where I feel that, in this country, in the United States of America, you have a lot of stupid people that have rights. And it's really starting to affect us as a whole, as a country, as a state, as a city, as a town. You can look at it on every single level. So when you hear the two women that were speaking, now just so happen they were, appear to be, Judite sisters or what have you. But when you hear the two women speaking back in my day, my parents, my elders, what have you, they would look at those two people on TV and say, those are some, I just said, they some damn fools. That's what they would say. Or they stupid as heck. Okay? They would just say it. I mean, this is absolute insanity that you have these people, like the first one you showed and the second lady speaking, and the man is trying to ask them, very logical questions. And we're at this point where we feel that it is acceptable for these people to even get to that level where they're in the room with those men speaking like that. And nobody is like, okay, it's one thing we turn it on and watch it, but at this point, nobody is doing anything about it. Going back to my original comment, hey, at some point in time, we just gotta, get out of the country or what have you. When we look at Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Because those two women that were in there speaking, those are products of liberal communities and liberal cities. All right.
Yeah. And liberal education as well. Liberal education, I believe, as well.
Right. Liberal education as well. Oh man, it knocked out my speaker when a phone call came in. I apologize. So those two, can you still hear me, Elder Gabar?
Okay. Yep. You're loud and clear.
All right. So it's hard for me to hear you because my speaker got knocked out with the call, but so it's obvious what they are a product of, right? Now, my saying, anybody that's spoken to me on the phone, I always tell them, you have to let these liberal cities collapse upon themselves like a dying star. Going back to the comment you had just made about instead of attacking the evil, sometimes you have to let the evil be evil. You also touched on another point that I always say. You talked about having like little separate pockets, like these people over there, these people over there. I strongly believe in that.
Yeah.
I live in a specific neighborhood for that very reason. Not that I don't want to be around, say, for example, my people, but if my people are here, they got skin in the game. Because in certain cities, like when we look at Chicago, New York, especially the cesspool of California, LA, things like that, there's a certain culture that comes with that. And yeah, we can go on here, we can talk about it. Anton Daniels, he talks about it every single day on his channel. We can talk about it, but nobody is really doing anything about it except a small percent of the people. You have the Israelites online, then you have the people who may not know they're Israelites. You got like the little pocket groups like, the Hassan Campbells and the Anton Daniels and stuff like that. But overall, nothing's being done. And at a point, and I got a scripture. So the scripture is going to be Proverbs 122, because a lot of people get offended when I use the S word, stupid. Truly get offended. So I'm going to read this Proverbs 122 out of the Contemporary English Version translation. It says, "How much longer will you enjoy being stupid fools? Won't you ever stop sneering and laughing at knowledge?" So what this shows, because it normally reads, "How long, ye simple ones," right? There is a classification, or there is a such thing as people being called stupid or simple in the Bible. So we know they exist. So we have to start talking about these things and start calling things for what they are.
Yeah.
Because I like I said, I can't even get my thoughts straight, because when I see those women in there speaking like that, it kind of throws me off just a little bit, because I get really upset about it. Because, hey, like I was about to say with Lot, when the angels came rolled up and they say, "Yo, you're gonna have to get up out of here." They didn't say, "You know what we'll do for you? We're gonna take out all the liberals in the area, and we're gonna let you and your family have this whole entire region." Okay? I say that to say this: all y'all that want to hold fast in the south side of Chicago, all y'all want to hold fast in certain places in California and LA, hey, do what you do. But the Bible says when you're persecuted in one city, flee to the next.
Yeah.
Okay? It didn't say when you're persecuted in one city, put a call in to the Most High Yah, and he gonna send somebody to come clean it up, and he gonna get it. Don't say that. And so now you got all these. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. And like these days, when you're looking to move out of your city now, before people looking to retire, or maybe people to look into a more warmer climate. Now you have to now consider, especially as a Christian, as a man believing God, what's the governor? Is he a leftist? Is he a Republican? Is he what does he believe in God? Doesn't believe in God? Does it, what's the law? You understand? It's like, because in New York City, New York always been liberal for the most part. New York City, New York State is a different conversation. It's like half and half. But New York, New York City, although it's liberal, but now you can feel it in the language, right? I see videos of police officers stopping, women or men, and they say, "Oh, I identified as this." What they have to ask them, "What do you identify as?" Just like it's changing the language, and it's changing. Kids get assigned now at birth their gender. I thought you look at the baby. If it has a wee, it's a boy. If it doesn't have a JJ, it's a girl, right? How you assign something that something is, right? So they're changing the language. And this is what I hear every single time they're about to collapse a country or empire. They start challenging the norm, the language, and how people communicate, right? That's why, the word, spelling, right? How do you spell this word? It's a spell, right? You casting a spell on people. So language is extremely important, and it's a thing that we have to take a stand in regards of this. You know, it's I don't get caught up with the, you know, what do you identify. You know, how do you identify, or what do you identify? Every time people even ask me, that's offensive to me. That term is offensive to me. If you see in front of you a man, that's what I identify, right? So we have to create verbal defenses, because I think they're coming. This is not a physical war, at least right now. I don't know if it's going to become a physical war in the future, but now this is a mental war that we have to overcome, because, you know, I hear your frustration. I understand your frustration. I feel and I agreed, and I concurred with your frustration. But a thinking man is a winning man, and I think coming up with talking points that to combat, right? Anytime somebody, you know, asks me what's my, you know, what do I identify as, I always say that's offensive to me. So, and they'll look at me like this, I said something weird, or they don't understand. Well, that's offensive to me. And I don't even explain. I just walk away. I say that's offensive. Because if you clearly see a man in front of you, right? Well, why you need to ask, right? So these are conversations that we need to have, because it's not only, you know, we have to fight when our back is against the wall, but how can we fight now, right? And not necessarily attacking evil, but doing good, right? Creating talking points that to combat the evil. I hope you understand what I'm saying. What say you about that?
Yeah. So first off, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. So one of the things I would say about that is, when we, you know, part of the issue is, like you brought up an excellent point about, okay, when somebody comes up and says, okay, hey, what do you identify as, and all these things? Well, part of the issue is they've passed so many laws in so many places. And now you'll start to see these things appear on forms, applications, so on and so forth. Like, you know, what's your identity, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
When a lot of times we always refer back to the Sodom and Gomorrah situation, but taking it a step further, for those that want to get some even more insight on that, when you go into the book of Jasher in chapter 19, it gives a breakdown of the wicked judges, right? And why is this important? Because the judges weren't just sitting on a bench and saying, hey, you got a traffic ticket today, or you did this or that. They were making the laws of their areas, you see? And that's where we're at today. That's why, you know, even when you go over into I believe in Jeremiah, Isaiah, it talks about the wicked judges, okay? And we're in a country where, you know, wickedness is heavily promoted. People, you have to understand that outside of America, things don't work like this in every other country. I mean, yeah, you're still going to have a lot of westernized countries out there, but you have a lot of countries that actually, for lack of a better term, have some common sense. You know, shout out to my boy over there, VP Vladimir Putin. You know, he's not on that type of time with the cross-dressing and all those things. So it like I said, is very frustrating. And I would say that anytime you see like these like I said, the women that were speaking in those things, and you see all the crime and all these things going on in New York, I watch that every day. There's a guy on YouTube called I sent him to you, Cash. I forgot his first name. Right, it escapes me right now. But these people, hey, you get what you vote for. So I have, I'm just going to call it what it is. I have no compassion for that. I have no sympathy for that. No empathy for that. Why? Because if you vote for wicked judges and you promote these things, and then you wonder why your areas are turning into food deserts. And then you send representatives to go speak on the behalf of your community to senators or congressmen or what have you. And they're trying to explain to him that, well, a man may not really be a man, but he's a man on Tuesday if he went to the steakhouse on Thursday last week. But then he could be a woman mixed with a smurf of an intergender sea creature. Like, ain't nobody got time for that. It's high time that we start calling stupid people stupid, right? I'm not talking about somebody who has a mental disability. I'm not talking about somebody who has a certain IQ and didn't do as well at school as somebody else. I'm talking about someone who is blatantly stupid, who says, hey, I'm going to ignore all the laws. Even a dog, even dogs can tell the difference between male and female. Even if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you look at the animal kingdom, they don't have these problems. I'm gonna say it again because it sounds simple. The animal kingdom don't have these kind of problems. Okay, and really, we shouldn't have these problems. But everybody thought it was sweet to continue to give stupid people rights. Oh, well, let them have their voice. Let them have a say. Man, F their say. Okay, because this is what would you like? The best way I could put it, when we go into the Torah, right? The Most High says, hey, when you go into these areas, do not do as they do. Do not do as the Canaanites do. And do not make covenants with them, lest they cause you to stumble into their ways and sin against the Most High. Okay?
Absolutely.
Well, in this country, we say, you know what? Not only are we going to make agreements with them, we're going to let them have a say. Hey, them sodomites over there, bring them to the cookout. We're gonna have them in the church, and then from the church, you know what? Hey, that's Sodom. Hey, I don't really get down with that, but that one sodomite, he's cool. He goes to church with my mom. Let's throw him on the city council. You know what I'm saying? And then it grows from there, and that's where we're at today. You're in a country where nobody knows nothing, nobody cares about nothing, and if people don't get it, though, the two contrasting commercials you showed of then. Because I came up in the time of warriors, and now, and it's so bad to where, look at what's going on with the president. This dude is supposed to be he actually falls in the military ranking structure. A lot of people don't get that. He actually falls in the military ranking structure, okay, of all military branches as the highest, but where's the commander in chief? Who is the commander in chief currently? What you have right now is called a compromise security of national. I'm sorry, a compromise of national security. Currently, this is active and ongoing, and people and everybody up. If people can't figure out, wake up, look around. There's the time for fun and games. The time for fun and games is over. The time for arguing is damn near over. Now, what's going to happen? There's going to be some people who didn't get ready. And then they're going to call this phone, or they might call your phone, whoever phone they call. And they're going to, I'll answer. And then they're going to be like, hey, man, what are you doing? It's like the middle of the night. I hear partying. I hear cars and things. I'm like, oh, man, no, I'm on the other side of the world right now. I don't know what y'all got going on over there. So what I'm saying is, people, you need to prepare now while you can, because,
Yeah, and part of our, spirit, right, our warrior spirit, we want to kind of fight back and fix it, right? But there is no fixing this society. There is no fixing this world, because if you're trying to fix this world, you literally are going against God's plan, right? What's that saying? Everybody has a plan, but God laughs about plan, because we may have a plan, but he has his own plan for us, right? And I think we all have to start thinking like Noah. We all got to create our own version of the Noah's Ark, whatever that may be, a community, a church, a gun club, a hunting club for men, an exercise club, whatever it is you're gifted. I think now is the time to create your own wolf pack and create your own, I would say, preppers, right? Spiritual preppers, people that you could trust and so forth, so on. And because there is no saving this country. And trying to save this country, right? You'll be going against the hands of God because it's predestined. It's going to go down. And it's just amazing to me that I am seeing it going down right our very eyes. And I don't believe the end is near. I believe if Trump gets elected, I think he's going to buy us 4 more years. And I don't believe those 4 more years, and I was having this conversation with a friend of mine. I forgot to mention this earlier. I meant to mention, but I got distracted. That these 4 years, things I think are going to get better if Trump gets elected. However, it's not time for people to party, have a good time. You know, taxes are low. The borders is locked. You know, it's clear. Trump is getting rid of all the wars overseas, the war in Israel, the war in Russia, right? The Middle East. He's gonna, right? It's not gonna be time for us to party and have a good time. It's going to be a time for us to prepare. So if things do get better, and I think they will if Trump wins. I mean, Biden, I think he just dropped. He pulled out. He's not going for re-election. I think that he just announced for Kamala Harris to be the next president. She's coming in and getting ready to run against Trump. That's going to be a no-brainer. I don't think she's a bright woman. I don't think she's an experienced woman. You know, from if you look at her history, she kind of slept herself to the top. You know, she was. I won't, you know, you can just look at her history, how she got into politics and so forth, so on. And I think that if Trump should win, unless, like I said, let's just do the election. We got whatever time we have, we have less than 4 years, right? And so forth, so on. So, but also, you got to also remember, you know, I always look at every possibility, you know. Donald Trump may be part of the, you know, he may be part of the plan. I don't know. And to deceive us to stay or think things are going to get better and to give us this false hope. I don't know. But regardless whether he's organic or not, it doesn't matter. And we're going to read the Bible. We're going to accept the Bible for what it is. It says Babylon will fall. So who cares who's the next president? But I do believe God gives us some time. God gives us some opportunity to get it right. And Christ said it, watch, because you do not know when I'm going to come. Watch, right? Because you do not know where it's, you know, when it's time to flee, right? But that time is coming. And I'm glad we're having this conversation because, folks, listen, do not take for granted what do you know. Do not take for granted that you can see. We are the real woke ones. We've been awake. We've been seeing this coming for a long time. But now it's one thing to say it is coming, right? But to actually see it, it's mind-boggling. It's like, wow. Thank you, oh Heavenly Father, that I'm not one of those people that are asleep. I'm not one of those people that are you know, delusional and don't understand what's going on in the real world. Thank you, Father, for allowing me to see what I'm seeing. But prepare. Women, if you're single, this is not the time to be single. Find yourself a righteous man. But if you cannot find a righteous man, don't rush into a relationship. Stay single if you cannot find a righteous man. Because the Bible says that man will become more precious than silver and gold, right? And so it's one of these things, man, that I hope this conversation doesn't just frustrate you. I know it's a bit frustrating for us to see these things, but I hope is for us to motivate each other, for us to say, okay, it's coming. Thank you, Christ, for giving us the Sermon of the Mount and Matthew 24, when the disciples asked him, what will be the end of the world and the sign of your coming? The first thing he said, let no man deceive you, for many will come in my name. So be optimistic. I'm optimistic. I'm usually pessimistic. I'm usually a very, I will say, very, cynical with things. But, I'm just glad that God has raised us up and God has shown us a different path, a better path. And we're getting ready. I know all of us are getting ready. I know all of us understand that this is a sinking ship and we have to create our own ark. We have to get in that ark because the end is near. What say you, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that the Most High going to burn these cities down. And, like I said, you're right. I mean, people have to, look around, be prepared, watch what's going on. But, once again, my stance on it with like when it comes to these liberal cities, these liberal politicians, judgment is going to come for those people. At the end of the day, that's basically what it's all about. When we deal like, when you played the video earlier, the subject of the show, talking about concentration. Well, that word, those understand, like a lot of times these college kids, they deal with D&D and things like that. And so that was a term that I wasn't hearing back in 2016. So real quick, I'll lay some groundwork, about 15 seconds. I used to have a job. And then in 2013, I quit that job. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to go back to school and get another degree. So during that time, I was getting that second degree. Some of the, younger, because it was like younger people there, they would play this game called D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Right now, we already know Dungeons and Dragons have like little symbolism in it, spells, things like that. So first and foremost, the word concentration, that's a term that is often used, specifying whatever character they're dealing with, whatever their specialty is, so on and so forth. Right.
Their major,
But
basically,
then,
what they're focusing on.
Right. So that's what we used to call it, a major, as you said earlier. But now they're using these terms, and understand that a lot of the college kids, they're susceptible to witchcraft. Now here in California, well, you know what I'm saying? It used to be, I'm not saying it's still like this, but I used to get on my motorcycle, go over there to the school, and you walk up to any of the students, I'll use the term students, but they young or what have you, but and they might be in their mid 20s, early 20s, what have you.
Yeah.
And you ask them about something that they have around their neck or what have you, and they'll openly tell you, oh, they're a white witch, or they're this or they're that. It was like that back then. So for the people that are sending their children to these colleges and things like that, just arm them with some information, so they at least had that information to know what they may be getting themselves into, understanding that words have power and words are spells. And I strongly encourage people to go and don't just take this as what Elder Gabar is doing as entertainment, but go and research the word concentration for yourself. Go look up some of these things and see for yourself.
Yeah, and I had a thought, and it will come back to me, but it's one of these things that higher education was respected when I was coming up. You had a college degree. Usually, a college degree was something that we could relate to. I'm an engineer, and there's different discipline within engineering, right? Criminal justice. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a lawyer. It was things that we could relate to. But what's going on now, right? I think it's just a scam. I think these colleges are outdated anyway. a lot of people are saying that colleges are no longer going to become a thing for real people to make, business. However, though, I think it's going to attract I don't want to say misfits, but the weirdos or the outliners of our society are going to be, because a lot of the people acquire this cap, they're getting grants and all kinds of, financial help. And it's okay, right? I think education should be free. If you want the best people, you should, of course, test for the best people. You should definitely be in a scenario that you get the best of the best. But I think college is outdated. And I think what college is going to become is like a cesspool of just these lefties that are focusing on, gender equality degree and from the perspective of Latino and Afrocentric, these crazy degrees that don't really mean anything in the real world, but in the abstract world, which is the social media world, right? They could become now the expert on everything dealing with oppression or, selective memory, whatever that is, right? And so forth, so on. And especially psychiatry and all that type of field, a lot of it is still questionable whether it's really a real thing or not, right? It's not something that is attainable, right? It's an abstract thinking, right? You got concrete thinking, you got abstract thinking. These young people are living in the abstract world, the philosophy world, and so forth, so on. And it's just dangerous. And I think these are going to be our teachers. These are going to be our new educators. These are going to be, or at least the educators for our children's children. That's why folks prepare. Homeschool. That's why sisters, listen. If you have a husband and he's working and you have to work, because most homes have to be supported by a two income, it's time for you to bring a midwife, extra wife, 2 or 3 that help around the house. A woman wasn't really designed to live by a house where her kids by herself anyway. When you look at our ancient culture, African culture, Israelite culture, Latino culture, indigenous culture, we were always in a community. Grandma was, watching the kids. Everything was close to the in-laws, and everybody looked out for each other. It wasn't this us against the world, just the father and the mother, and they both have to work. They got to rush the kids to the school. They got to pick them up. Who's going to pick them up? It's insanity. So it's time to bring forth your resources and start considering a better way. This whole monogamy thing is not of our culture to begin with. And I don't want to, go into a different conversation, but we have to start getting creative in how to, synchronize our resources. Maybe, let's have 2-3 generations, father, mother, son, he has a wife, and so forth, so on. Hey, let's get a big house to save some resources and have a scenario that is like a thing that we could save money. What do the people of the Middle East and people that come from other countries do? You see them shack up in 1-bedroom apartment. 3 years later, they have a business, whatever it be, a bodega or a laundromat or supermarket, whatever it may be, and that their kids are going to college and becoming, the next generation of our leaders. And we've been here for years, right? But now when we have to look at it, it's like, okay, we need skills that we could not only make $1 until the dollar collapse, but a skill that we could utilize after the dollar collapse. Right? And like I said, engineer, there's a brother out there. I've been trying to reach out. I'm trying to get for him to come on the show. He's creating water out of thin air. He has created these big machines and so forth. He's a African-American so-called brother and so forth, so on. He wants to help in different countries and so forth, so on. Those are the skills we're going to need in the future. Farming. Having those skills is just basically, that we could be self-sustaining while we are maintaining, ourselves with this dollar. And I don't want to be, God is always, gloom and doom, but, If this is the 2023, 2024 graduates, right? 3 years from now, these are the people are going to be the experts in whatever crazy field they're getting. Like they're creating their own field. And a lot of these kids are going straight to podcasts, straight to some form of entertainment, or like I'm so and so. I took a degree on selective memory and oppression from this perspective, and I want to talk about selective memory. So blah 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 blah, and then they become the experts. And listen, shout out to the young people, hustling and making their own money and not going their own route, but we have to we have to understand that the far left has gone insane, and we can't be polite about it.
Exactly.
We can't be polite about it. That's why people ever ask me about, well, what do you identify as? That's offensive to me. I'm not playing the game. That's why I tell brothers the best way to protect yourself from a bad marriage is to never get married in the first place, right? Don't engage, right? You don't have to get a piece of paper to show your love to a woman or tell a woman, listen, you're my wife in the eyes of God. Let's bring a pact together and so forth, so on. And I truly believe that the days of, you should go to the parents and you should get that respect and give the respect to that parent. But I believe that Christ was warning us and telling us that law, that tradition is going to be a thing in the past, because I came to bring what? A sword or a sword on earth. For I will bring a father-in-law against a son-in-law, or a mother-in-law against a son-in-law, and so forth, so on. What that means? That you're going to be, and also another scripture says that I'm going to take 2 or 1 out of every city and of every family. So now it's for you to get your wolf pack together. And your number one wolf pack should be your spouse, who that spouse is, right? And it's supposed to be you against the world and so forth, so on. And if you cannot find that, it's best to be alone. The best to be alone. And because it's I just want to see it. I just want to experience, like, wow. Like, Babylon has become in the book of Revelation, it says that get out of her, my people, because Babylon has become the cage or the habitation of every evil spirit and so forth. So I'm paraphrasing. So it's going to come a situation that it's no longer going to be an abstract theory. It's going to be right in our faces. But the way they're doing is very clever. It's slowly raising the temperature. Slowly raising the temperature. And what they're doing is they are attracting all people that have been victimized at one point in their life. All people that have been in a scenario that, I've been a victim at one point. And I could see, gays, transgender, women, minorities, they're going to get all these victims. Okay, victims, we're going to go against the man. We're going to go against the system. Yeah, we're going to change this country within. Yeah. And hurt people. And these people are hurt. They need counseling, righteous counseling, biblical counseling. They need men to set these people straight because, and the Bible says I'm paraphrasing in the Apocrypha, that a churlish man is a man who is, considered cruel or, not very nice. It is better than a courteous woman in regards of righteousness, because sometimes women, they always go with the victim. They're gonna, go like, don't pick on the gay kid, don't pick on the the incel and the guy. They always identify with the victim because from their perspective, they've been victimized, right? So they're getting all the misfits of our society, right? And they're creating this misfit army. And they're coming for our children. And we have to do better. We have to do better. And how do we do better? Having these type of conversations, acknowledging, coming up with clever words, like my personal, what I brought out and what I said and what I felt that, if somebody asked me what's my gender or what's my identify, that I always say that's offensive to me, and you just walk away. That's offensive. And let them figure it out. And they may ask me, later on, hey, Carlos, earlier I asked you what was what you identify as. Why you got offended? That's offensive to me. Why? Because you clearly see there's a man in front of you, right? It's just offended to me. And they're gonna try to talk to me out of it. Like, no, it's offensive to me. I think if you see a man, you should automatically. It's my responsibility to tell you that I identify as a rabbit, right? It should not be a situation that now I have to ask every Tom, Dick, and Harry or Susan and Jane, hey, what do you identify as? I think you should wear the uniform that you identify. If you identify as a rabbit, walk around with a rabbit suit on. Put a thing on your forehead. I identify as a Zen, Zer, Z, whatever. You like wearing tattoos anyway. It should not be my responsibility to try to figure out what you identify as. Right? So I think that's what's going on. And we have to create, I think it's the info war, and is a war of speech, is a war of psychoanalysis, try to win that argument. And I think we have to get in the ring of winning the verbal argument, because that's how they're fighting. This is not a physical war. There's a mental and spiritual war. And any last words you want to add, brother?
Yes, sir. So in the Apocrypha, it calls it, the war of ignorance. And a part of that war, when we look at when we say, how are we going to verbally do verbal judo, verbal jujitsu with these people when we have these conversations? The reason why it's difficult is because they call the phrase is moving the goalpost, but what they're doing is they're not standing on any particular foundation, because they operate in what's called sin culture, right? And because the communities from coast to coast,
I like that sin culture, reject sin culture. I like that. I want to make a T-shirt. That's a good one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just made it up. So yeah, you can have it. Good. And so one of the things that happened, sir, is from coast to coast, there's sin culture. And say, for example, if I'm arguing with someone, I don't even like to use the term arguing, but let's say if we're having a spirited conversation, spirited debate, because they have no solid foundation, because they're cowards, they can then say, oh, well, I don't see it that way. Whenever I have a conversation with a brother and sister that's in the truth, and we say, oh, hey, we disagree on these things, let's look into it and see what the answer is. We can have a conversation, go out afterwards, grab a bite to eat, grab a coffee, and what I'm saying, and just continue and study, because we have a foundation, we have a target that we're aiming for, and that's the perfection that the Most High wants us to aim for, right?
Yeah.
But because these people, you know what I'm saying, and let me be clear for anyone that's listening, anyone that's struggling with, this and that and the other. I'm not per se attacking you, right? Brother Ricky, he made an excellent comment. We have to be able to talk to people, even those that have been hurt and damaged. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, my method of that, anybody can tell you, I suck at that, because I just come out and tell them the truth. Like, hey, the scriptures say this, the scriptures say this, the scriptures say that. But that's because of how my mind is. right? That doesn't make it right. I'm not saying I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's just kind of my approach. I say, hey, like, so say if I'm talking to a person who is of the alphabet community, I'm not mean to them, but I let them know. I say, hey, per what it says in Ezekiel chapter 3, I have to give you at least 2 warnings, about what you're doing. After that, I can have a civilized, respectful conversation with them, but I have to let you know, hey, this is what the creator of the universe says about these things, right? Now they'll move their foundation and say, okay, but my church down the street got two male pastors just got married together. You see? And then if you show them that's wrong, and then they'll move their foundation and say, okay, some will come and say, well, I don't even believe in that at all. I believe in the that one church where they got the Queen James Bible. I don't know if you heard of that.
Yeah, that came out a few years ago. The Queen James Bible. Yeah.
This is what makes it difficult in arguing with these people and with the liberal mindset, is because they feel that they're not required to stand on anything. It's no different than watching some of our brothers and sisters out there teaching and preaching, doing the street preaching on YouTube, and the Christian come up. The Christian, he will not answer a question directly and walk away and think that he answered the question directly, even though it's on tape that he didn't, because they're used to moving foundations or not having a solid foundation at all. I just had to get that out of the way to touch on the part about what you said about the colleges. One of the issues with the colleges, you were spot on with what you were saying. And that's why they have colleges now that even offer video game degrees, because initially, you laugh, but one of the top colleges is actually doing it, Full Sail University. I mean, this is real stuff. I mean, it's funny.
I believe you. I believe
so anybody's welcome to take me up on what I'm saying and Google it as I'm speaking it. And so what's happening is, I had a friend, and there was a situation at one of her kids' school. And she goes to the school, and one of the things that the kid is signed up for is like some weird like photography type thing, but the kid was in 9th grade and couldn't read. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But they had all these, like back in my day, you know what I'm saying? I'm old now. So, way back in my day, we had certain core things that we had to learn in school. And then even in college, the jobs that were useful, or the degrees that were useful, because college isn't all bad. Is it a scam? Yes, but it wasn't all bad. It's a complete, I say it's more like 85% scam now, because we still need doctors. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, it's bad. Nah, we need doctors now, people. Come on now. And we need a couple of mechanics,
we need engineers.
And engineers. Things.
I don't know. Yeah, we need.
Basically, they call it like STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So we need those core things, right? We can't just be like, oh, hey, you know what? We don't need doctors anymore. We don't need to have a safe bridge to drive across anymore. Things like that, right? So there is a percentage of college that is still applicable, right? Those things still matter, but hey, I'm gonna just lay it out for you, man. Nowadays you can go to college for anything almost. Literally.
Yeah, you could pick your own major. You could literally say, I want to study the effects of midgets in the world since the beginning of time and how their brain is, you could just create their own.
And they would call that the study of dwarfism.
Yeah, and it just becomes, and shout out to the people dwarves out there, I don't want to make fun of them, but what I'm saying is you just come out with any idea and just say, hey, this is what I want to study, right? And they don't focus on, would I able to get a job on this? Would I be able to sustain my family or myself on this? And then they would, if they're not one of the lucky ones, right? Because you do. And now more than ever, I read an article that people are going directly from colleges on whatever field that they're dealing with, and they're going directly to social media to get clients. They no longer have to work for anybody. So social media has kind of cut the middleman in many ways, but that's opening the door for all kinds of different subject matters that these young people are going to college because from their perspective, I think what I'm seeing on the subject that they're picking, I believe they have more like a messiah complex. Like, I want to change the world on this. I want to help, less fortunate people, victims, and so forth, so on. And it's one of those things that is they are out there. Like, I was speaking to a friend of my daughter's when she was in college, and she was going to school for some human development sociology of something. And I was asking, so we're looking to, what are you looking for to, after you're out of school? Oh, well, I want to travel. And she was Dominican, I want to travel. But what I really want to focus on is getting rid of the male masculine or the male chauvinist within my Dominican community. I want to go to DR to kind of change that around. Like, young lady, do you think you're going to be successful with that? And I was calling, she was, I was giving her advice because, my daughter asked me, hey, Daddy, maybe you could give this girl some advice because she had a boyfriend and the boyfriend wasn't, from DR. And it's just amazing how delusional these young people are. That they could think they could change the world and their idea of how to change it. It's just bizarre. And I wish her Godspeed and everything she do, but I said, you're, and I gave her my 2 cents and my peace of mind, and she didn't call me anymore because, called her like it is. Like, you're not looking at this in the right way, and I just feel bad for women because they're really being victimized by the system. In other words, the system is using their pain to some degree against themselves. They're already angry for whatever reason. And the system is just feeding that energy, just feeding that negativity and saying, what you need to do, you got to go and fight, masculine, patriarchal system. You have to fight against, systemic racism. You have to fight against, yada, 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 and so forth, so on. Like, they have this God complex or this Messiah complex that they want to change the world. And I just feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for people that struggle or are born with the curse of homosexuality, and they don't, and they've been brainwashed, and, a young kid, I feel like a girl, and the kids, the parents now, it's encourage them like, oh, dress up. You want to take some hormone blockers? And now I think in California, they're trying to pass a law that a child could go to the teacher and say, hey, I don't feel like my gender. And the teacher doesn't have to tell the parent, and the teacher could help that child transgender, and so forth, so on. It's getting more weird and more weird.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say that law that you mentioned. That's why Elon Musk is pulling SpaceX out of California because of that situation. It was a big, I'm sure, it's so much going on that we can't, with everything they're throwing at us right now with the, election situation, presidents, being shot at, things like that. But yeah, that was a big news story a couple of days ago. So Elon Musk is supposedly pulling SpaceX out of California, moving it to Texas as well. When we talk about the children and they have these lofty goals, here's the thing: when the young children come and they'll say something like, 22 years old, 24, 25 years old, and they say, I want to change the world, I want to do this, I want to do that. That's fine and dandy, but we all go through that phase. The difference between Generation X and these new kids, right? They on some other stuff where they don't understand. I can snap my fingers right now and say, you know what? I want to end homelessness, but there still has to be a practical approach to that. That's the piece that they're missing. You can't just say, "Oh, you know what? Because what happened is these kids got raised up on Netflix and Nickelodeon. They sat in front of that, for the past, 10 years or what have you. They but end up in college, and then they think they're gonna go to college, live a life like Hannah Montana, and then come out of college and then just start traveling the world, and every day is an episode of TV. It don't work like that. They don't have any sense of practicality or a logical approach to anything that they do. They don't understand that, hey, you can want to be a lawyer. Hey, I'm gonna clap my hands and say, hey, that's a good thing. If you want to, be an honest lawyer and help our people or help people in general, that's fine. Understand the student debt that comes with that. Are you willing to take on that side of it? You see what I'm saying? Anybody can say they want to do something good, but they got to count the cost.
And let me add that. I think that's how they get you, because these positions like the doctors and the lawyers in certain positions, a lot of these institutions are not accepting grants and free tuition and financial aid for these positions like doctors and lawyers. And this is my theory why. Because then these positions are very important in our society. And if you have a doctor that has a student loan of $500,000, and sometimes you got these student loans that are even more than that, and you compound interest, that doctor, that lawyer is easier to compromise because he got to pay that debt, right? He has to pay for his wife, fake boobs as well. He has to take the kid, right? He has all that, just compound debt. So when you're in debt and you don't have the freedom to say no because you need this job, that's how they get you. That's why I believe if you're going to become a lawyer, if you're going to become a doctor, you could go overseas and get your doctor's degree, right? And so you have to get smart about it, because that's how they get you. Debt is slavery. That is a way for them to control you. So if you're going to college and if you don't have any student loans, if you don't have any student aid or any form of financial assistance, if you're going to get the loan, make sure that your profession is going to be able to bring you that money, and make sure that you're ready for the next, I would say, 5 years of living very humbly. I would say if you're gonna go that route, I want to even get married until you pay that debt off. I'll live in a studio apartment until I pay that off. But the system, I think, is collapsing, and it's like, okay, sometimes this collapse rhetoric that we discuss among ourselves, sometimes I come from the time that I believed or it was taught to me when I was with the ancient, the Hebrew Israelites in New York. Christ is coming for the year 2000. When I joined GOCC, we got to free Babylon. So it's always just like this apocalyptic end of the world type of situation that I think is working against us. And I think we have to slow down, take a deep breath, don't get comfortable, prepare. And that's what we don't do. We have to prepare not only for ourselves, but we have to prepare for our children, just in case we're here for another 20, 30 years. Because if we're not having children, right, why is Islam taking over England? Because England, the British people there, are not having babies the way you used to. And what's happening is that you having the Muslim community, many of them, they do multiple wives, and you can have up to 4 wives, you can have more kids, right? So they're having more kids. So I'm not against having more kids, but you have to just be smart about it. And we have to teach the next generation, because if we die out, right, if we take our knowledge and our wisdom and it dies with us, what do you think is going to happen for the next generation? So we have to prepare not only for now, but we also prepare for our children's generation. Sometimes, we're a little too selfish, and sometimes every generation believes that we're the generation that Christ is going to come and deliver us. We thought in the 80s, we thought in the 90s. We always think that there's always something that is, this is evidence. There's evidence that, first with the barcode, that was the thing. When credit card became popular, that's the mark of the beast. It's always like any day now. And I get it. We have to watch. We have to take these things serious, but I think we also have to prepare for our children, and we have to fight evil with good. And if we have knowledge, right? Why are we not building communities and children and family and teaching them this knowledge, right? And that's what I'm saying. I think, we have to look at it both sides and prepare not only for if Christ comes tomorrow or he's coming 100 years from now, right? So any last word, Brother Logic, before we end the show? And also, people want to come in. I do have the description below. If you want to come in, you're more than welcome. This is a safe place. Even if you disagree with something I said, I want to hear it because that's how we learn from each other. Any last word, Brother Logic?
Yeah, just to touch on what you said about about the kids learning things like that. One of the things I recommend is, the schools are not like the school. Like, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm in my 40s, right? So the schools today are not like the schools back in my day. Yeah. Back in the day, even the teachers would frown upon the insanity, like some of the stuff that you remember when you started the show off with the video with the teacher, how he was dressed, so on and so forth. That wouldn't be allowed. I say all that to get to the point and say this. The time of sending your children from the ages of, 5, even upwards to, 12 to school by themselves, that's over. Especially if you're in the sound of my voice and you know the truth. For those that study the Bible, whatever you claim, whether you claim to be Christian, Baptist, Messianic, Jehovah's Witness, Israelite, whatever you claim to be, right? That time is over. Especially out here, you send your child to school, one of these crazy schools out here if you want to, and you're gonna get what you get. And that's why I can't have that kind of sympathy, because the warning has been going out at least for the past 8 years. Just on, hey, the gig's up. You can't, the cutoff point from this point on, no more. You don't want to turn these little children over and make that covenant with their system, like the Most High warned us about, to where, Salakia, to where you go in and your child has to respect another child's pronouns, and then your child come home talking about, yeah, mommy, yeah, daddy, hey, can my friend come over? We're gonna play some video games. Oh, what's your friend? Her name is Tommy. Like, what do you mean her name is Tommy? Like, yeah, mom, her name is Tommy. It's a boy, but he identifies as a girl, but he has a boy's name. Hell no, not today. Tommy,
they're trigender. They don't have a gender.
Right. And then you got to explain that to your kids.
Right.
Yeah. And then when your kid go back to school telling them something out of this Bible over here, and then they looking at your kid as like your kid is being mean to the other students or being intolerant. I'm telling you, hey, people can do what they want. You know what I'm saying? Here's what I'm standing on. Let the liberal cities collapse on themselves like a dying star, right? Because even Lot had to leave it. They didn't say, you know what, Lot, you righteous. I'm gonna come wipe out all their stuff and let you keep Sodom and Gomorrah. Nah, he had to get up out of there. And you don't send your kids to these schools like that, especially from the ages. At least if you're gonna have to send them to school, you're gonna have to wait till at least maybe middle school where they got the wherewithal about them and they grounded in the scriptures or something to that effect.
Or just homeschool. Just homeschool.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to homeschool. And I wanted to touch on that real quick. When homeschool, because they have it where you can go to your board of education in your city, your town, or your county. You can get all the lesson plans and all those things and what the requirements are to do the homeschooling. Now, somebody may come along and say, well, what about the child not having interaction with other children? Well, guess what? After that child has had, 4 hours or 5 hours of mom and dad teaching them that day, he's going to have interaction with other children, because after we're done, we're going to take him to that 5 o'clock jujitsu class, because everybody knows across the country, jujitsu for children starts at 5, for adults it starts at 6. He's going to go there, or she can go to the Muay Thai class, and they're going to be there with respectful children that respect each other, where there's a whole bunch of witnesses, where ain't no funny business of a man coming around in a dress, you know what I'm saying, talking about, hey, let me show you this triangle lock. Hey, no, hell no. This is madness, man.
I hope I don't see, the first gay black belt, feminine, jiu-jitsu teacher, but who knows, right? Who knows with this country, right? But, and this is not gay bashing, folks. This is not about that. But we need to, all the science shows that when you have a country that does well and luxury and times gets easy, society just gets weird. People get lazy. They don't want to have any kids. They just want to have more fun. It's weird because you would think that in good times, you kind of want to have more kids, right? But in good times, you don't. You want to have more fun. So it's just weird how the brain works and the way society functions, because, all these societies, society is, we're not replacing our children. The society is collapsing in regards of numbers, right? Depopulation, because people don't want to have any kids. Why? Because they're too busy going to college and getting a transgender study from a perspective of Latino, of, selective memory, of, spectrum. What was it? I mean, what are you going to do with that? What you going to do with that? And I just feel bad for them. I just feel because they don't know what's coming. They don't, and I think a lot of people that get caught up with the madness are going to realize they've been played by the powers that be. And we just got to pray for them because they don't know what they're doing. Any last words? Go ahead, brother.
I just wanted to ask if it's okay if I share 3 scriptures before I step down.
Please. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
All right. So the first scripture I want to share is for those who, because I hear, hey, Trump might be the next president, or this person, that person. So the first scripture, everybody already knows this, Matthew 12:25. Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself cannot stand. No matter who is president, people understand that the kingdom of America, it's literally 49-51 one way or 49-51 the other way. Everybody disagree. It's like a literally 1-for-1 disagreement. So it's like nobody. It's literally the actual prophecy that Christ. We're actually fulfilling a portion of that. What he said specifically, right? The next scripture I want to share is you had brought out the. It's in. I'll get it in the 40 Sirach 42. And I believe it's verse, let me go back to that. Sorry about that. It dropped down. It's Sirach 42:14. A man's churlishness or wickedness is better than a woman's goodness. Women bring shame and disgrace. And then the final scripture I wanted to share, just kind of touching on the whole overall, what I wanted to share. And please understand, people, this is just my opinion. I have a very, very strong opinion. I get, like I said, when I saw the 2 sisters in there, trying to explain to the man, like how there's 500 different genders and, in one person, it kind of upset me. So I'm just sharing my opinion. But this following scripture is what I wanted to share. It's the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 22, just to kind of, sum up how I feel. It says, and once again, that's Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 22. Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of Yah, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace. We're living in a time of a great plague, a plague of ignorance, a plague of men thinking they're women, women thinking they're men. The mind, the reprobate mind is coming upon people. But see, Christians don't like talking about that reprobate mind over there in that book of Romans. You want to see them do some buck dancing, talk to them about that reprobate mind. Okay, I'm not going to go into that. But once again, It says, moreover, this was not enough for them that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace. I'm here to tell you people, you're in a war. You're in a spiritual war, and you're in a war every day for your mind, and for your children's minds. Y'all can do what you want, but hey, and Elder Gabar, that statement that you made was, I really, really, if you come back to that on a later podcast or something, when you said about fighting the evil, and sometimes that evil just grows and grows and grows. That's the same thing I'm trying to say when I say you have to let these liberal cities collapse upon themselves like a dying star. That's what even Lot tried to fight the evil, but they still drug him out of there. Okay.
And you're absolutely right. I know I'm in New York, one of the most liberal cities in the world. I think in America you got New York and California. I think Seattle's pretty wild. Seattle's pretty wild too. It's pretty liberal. I'm trying to think of anything else. I think those are the top three liberal, right? New York, Seattle, California. I'm trying to think. Florida is pretty conservative in certain situations, but it's also a set point in regards of party life and just debauchery. But I would say New York, California, and Seattle are the most liberal, and those are the ones you're right. Just let them collapse because that's what's going to happen. They're either gonna get some sense of collapse and let God's will be done. Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you,
a little bit of inside knowledge for people, because I do live in California myself. California is not as liberal as people think, but because of how could I just put this? The Pelosi crime family, it's always going to come across as liberal. And that's all I'll say about that, because I'm not that one dude he was up there talking all types of stuff on no girl, man. I'm like, woo. Like, hey, but he can get away with that, I guess, because he's the Edomite or whatever, That's another story for another day.
Well, thank
shalom.
You, brother. Shalom, shalom. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you for all the wisdom you brought out, and absolutely, man. It's just, we all have to become Noahs. This ship is sinking. We have to try to rescue as much people as possible, and we gotta understand that. We are seeing the beginning of this change, this beginning. And we could hear and try to fight for our rights and trying to fight to change things, or just step back and just let this thing collapse and let the Most High resolve it on his own. And just be sure you protect yourself, your family, and the people that you love, the people that love you, your wolf pack. Until next time, may the Most High keep you and watch you. Shalom.